Hello, YouTube. It's Alk here with Yu-Gi Underground with my co-host RJ on our segment, How to Play Rogue Decks. Now, for today's segment, we discuss something very important that seems very easy, but people just forget. To go back to our DN reference, have you ever played that guy who's playing a 13-card extra deck? And then you find out, wait a second, this guy's playing Constellars. Constellars, and you're like, why is he only playing 13 cards? Oh, because the amount of Constellar X-Seeds doesn't come up to 15? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
3 of every Constellar X-Seed, nothing off theme. That's not really the way you want to build it.
Our thing here is, the one, especially one that gets me is, have you ever, this has happened to me only a couple of times, good job Gravekeeper players, you haven't managed to tick me off as a community. Gravekeeper players who don't play extra deck, and GB players who only play 6-card extra decks, and the 6 cards are the fusions. Like, what we have been gifted by Konami and what everyone saw when the X-Seed came out, believe it or not, when the X-Seed came out back just post Extreme Victory, people didn't see them go like, that Utopia, that's going to be my boss monster and it will destroy everything. No, what people saw X-Seeds as were these great little utility cards that they were going to be able to play because, hey, if you happen to get 2 monsters of the same level on the field, you can build your plays to accommodate a little more utility. So today's segment is use your freaking extra deck.
Even on our channel, we have done a handful of deck profiles. One, a particular ninja player, no hate Brendan, comes to mind, who's showing us in his deck, his extra deck, 2 Excalibur, 2 Blade Armor, 2 Utopia.
So, you can obviously tell we are talking about rogue decks, not budget decks. But if you're building a rogue deck, and you're building it to the best of your ability, play the extra deck!
If you can.
This video came from a lot of things, but it came because I took up the less than noble cause of playing around with some Light Sworns, and I ended up, in the deck, I ended up making a 6-minute video, not a Light Sworn deck profile, because we already have one on this channel, but just talking about why you should run Threatening Roars and Wabokus and Light Sworns. And the big argument wasn't really even that these cards are that great, but the argument was because all of your monsters are 3s, 4s, 3s, 4s, Raygo's a 2, and JD you don't use until the turn you win. And by keeping them on the field and making X-Seeds with them, it expanded the deck more than I didn't even think it would be as competitive as I made it, which wasn't that
being
easy.
able to use Lavalval Chain, stack a JD.
I can link a feature match where I'm totally destroyed by dragons, but in game 1, you can see how the X-Seed summon really paid off, and really it won me a game against E-Dragons, which Light Sworns probably shouldn't win against, but I'm just going to give you a preview of my extra deck and just talk about it briefly for the sake of argument. Let me make sure it's on camera. So, 1 Pal Dynamo. Now we're talking about Light Sworns, which when people used to play them, they used to play very few cards in the extra deck, maybe some Synchros for Plague Spreader, but never X-Seeds, but they're all light. Why wouldn't you be running this card? Because, hey, I milled a wolf. Hey, I milled a Lila. This card can bait out a back row. This card, when it's destroyed, can draw a card and get you closer to the boss monsters you need to OTK. This monster gets rid of problem cards like Ophion. I'm like, why wouldn't you be playing this card?
You can use it to negate effects like
Lavalval Chain, mills and stacks JD. Like, this card searches anything. I don't care, like...
Wolf, instant special summon,
honestly, and just going beyond the Light Sworn point, like, if you're not playing anything better in your extra deck, if you're not playing anything at all, why wouldn't you want want a card that just says put any monster that you want on the top of your deck. That's like a search with a delay. Emerald, it's a Pot of Avarice on legs. Dijin, it can stall, it can book a moon, it can Ophion outage, it can... Like, you see what I'm getting at? Direwolf. Direwolf's like the most simple thing, and it should be worth like twice as much as it is, because every deck should be playing this card. You put 2 of your level 4s in it, and you turn those 2 cards into a guaranteed 1 card destroyed on your opponent's side of the field.
Getting rid of key back row or something, like in Gadgets, if I'm going off with Offering, the first thing I do is always make Direwolf and try and snipe the back row if I can. And like either force it if it's a bottomless or compulsory or something, but ideally I'll hit it and then they don't have any back row or anything. I can flip Offering and just like la 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 la, and not have to worry about anything.
I mean, seriously, it's 2 level 4 monsters, and this is the glory of the XC. Gaia Cowboy. If you attack and you get them down to that last 800 life points, and it happens so often, why wouldn't you have this there to overlay to do that last damage and save yourself time where your opponent can be coming back? Especially if you're playing a deck like Gravekeepers, like GBs, like Light Sworns, like anything that's not using their extra deck except for a few cards. Like, this is giving yourself more options. This is what's going to make your deck more competitive as time goes on, because you know, we might get more Gravekeeper support, we might get more Lightsworn support, but it's not very likely. But what we will get is these continuing additions to our extra deck, so that as we build our field presence, you're going to have the ability to maneuver your deck to out more and more situations, and thus make it better. Abyss Dweller, you can win against Dark World, you can really hurt Mermails. Crazy Box, anything can side Eradicator Epidemic Virus, so if you're not using your extra deck, and you're bad against Prophecy, that's not really a staple of some of the other ones. Corn, and like...
It's just an out to battle stalling cards and whatever else is...
Rank 3, we've got these hardcore stall cards, which is going to... If your deck's playing slow, and your opponent's trying to force themselves through, then you better believe that having these cards that take 2 or 3 hits to get rid of is going to be really useful to getting to your win condition.
If you have just 2 level 3s, why would you let them sit there as block 2 attacks versus make a Zenmain's block 3 attacks, also maybe get a pop in the end phase, and pretty much make you that much more likely to live an extra turn.
The only thing I'm going to say, guys, is like putting your monsters together in order, even just something as simple as Leviathan Dragon, to accumulate your attack into something a little bit more heavy hitting to help yourself into a situation, and that's a lot of like, don't take it for granted, because and between these 15 cards and whatever 15 cards you can get into whatever extra deck you're playing, whether it be for Cloudians or Gravekeepers or GBs or anything that really wasn't hardcore and using the extra deck in the past, well, in the present,
the likelihood of you needing to use 1 card in your extra deck more than just twice in a game is so much lower than you needing to toolbox an extra card. For example, in my gadget deck that I ran today, I play multiples of exactly 1 card. I play 2 Geargigants because that's pretty much necessary. I don't even need 3. Every other card, it's King of the Feral Imps, because I play Kage Tokage, Direwolf, Cowboy, Emerald, Chain, Maestro, Crazy Box, Gem Knight Pearl, Flagship of Corn, Dweller, Shockmaster, and Ouroboros. All of these different options, even though I pretty much only make rank 4s and 1 rank 7 because of Fortress. Because it's that much more important to have those than it is to have the 3rd Geargigant. I've lost games because I didn't have like a Papilloperative or Direwolf before I added it, and I've never lost a game because I had too few Geargigants. Your extra deck isn't like sometimes in your main deck where if you have to draw into your boss monsters to get extra copies sometimes. Your extra deck. They're always there.
And it makes you like in Lights ones, like I even found that like sometimes like being able to toolbox out of your extra deck, like this stuff can be so important that even running like cards that would be bad like these over Trag and Gorge, just because your monsters, those valuable monsters with those valuable level 4 and level 3 bodies, are going to be there for you to use. No homo. And like it's something so simple, but it's something so easy to forget, and especially if you are in the middle of a game, something so easy for you to just not remember and just let your opponent completely take advantage of the fact that you are not playing out of situations to your maximum potential because you let yourself at a huge disadvantage right off the bat by not having extra deck cards. And by extra deck cards, I mean like good ones.
Different options.
And, you know, sometimes it can be pricey, and I wish I could
If you want to win with Rogue,
help you
it's not
say that, but
it's not as expensive as winning with E-Dragons, but it's not going to be cheap.
sometimes you're gonna have to put out a little bit. Like, these guys can run you like $20, this guy can run you like $15, $20, this guy can run you like $20, this guy can run you like $20, and that's like $60. Thing is, you're going to play these in every single deck that runs level 4s because, holy
They're
cow,
the
maybe not
staples, and if you aren't using them, you may as well just use them. You get like an extra bit of damage from Cowboy or some extra defense from Maestro, consolidating 2 level 4s that you aren't using.
And if
You
you're
may
gonna
as well.
like play it in that many decks, and then it gets even better because then every deck you pick up, say like I want to pick up Battling Boxers, cheapest deck to pick up in the game. I built the entire deck picking up the commons off tables. I haven't actually built it yet because I want to pick up like MSTs and stuff off tables and have something to really be proud of.
You're pretty lucky if you get MSTs off.
But like all of these big line purchases you've made to make your one rogue deck competitive has all of a sudden made every rogue venture you take more competitive.
It's similar to running rogue decks with back row. If you already have your Mirror Forces, Torrentials, Fiendish Chains, Compulsories, Solemns, all of those can go in pretty much any slow-paced deck. Just keeping a hold of the staples also applies to your extra deck. Don't forget to use every slot that you can. Even if you're just throwing in, like, for a while with this extra deck, I didn't have a Master of Blades for my gadgets. And so I just threw in that Apple Operative because it's better than running 14 cards and not using it to the full capacity that's available to you.
So
You never know when that'll be what wins you the game.
yeah, that's really the purpose of it. You don't when you're playing rogue decks, you're playing against the meta, don't be that guy who plays Nordic Lights. And in that same sense, I don't not play cards that are going to do nothing but help you. Like a card in your extra deck will never hurt you. You will never pull out a card in your extra deck and all of a sudden just lose the game because you had it there and you didn't.
I'm allowed to share a little bit of...
Like, there's not a card that says check your opponent's extra deck if they reveal a Maestro Symphony of the Gang, burn them for 4,000. No one's running Maestro anymore.
I have a somewhat shameful story that I just remembered actually that's related to this. When I was first getting into the game and I just googled what Dino Rabbit was, and I was making my extra deck. I put in 3 Lagia, 3 Doga, 3 Utopia, 3 Roach, 3 Leviair, and that was it. And it was really, really bad. Because you are never going to need that many of any one of those cards. Like, they just play 2 of each of the Evolzars, and then like all of the different these rank 4s that we were showing off, because you're never going to need 3 Utopias to block all of those
Man,
attacks.
and I'm just telling you from personal experience, like when I played Nordics for the first time, Brionic was a $40 card. I walked in every day. I would never buy that Brionic. $40, that's ridiculous. A Brionic will never be worth $40 to itself. And sure enough, I ended up in a tournament one week, and because this is pretty recently, all the good players were out. I think there was like a regional going on. So I'm playing this bad Nordic deck with an incomplete extra deck. It wasn't a bad deck, but it was pretty like incomplete because I wouldn't like put out. I didn't have the money to put out for Thunderbolts and stuff yet. But I was in top 2, and we get in this big grind game, game 3, and he ends up dropping a Scrap Dragon and popping something, and we end up getting to the point where I have a Goldfax who's like Cyber Dragon if your opponent has a Synchro. Raikou, and one other card there, and he only has 2,000 life points. And he's got nothing but this Scrap Dragon, because every turn he's been setting his only extra card and popping it to pop my extra card and attack with his Scrap Dragon. I'm sitting there, and it's like, man, if I had Brionic in my extra deck, I would win first place right now, and I'd get like whatever, I'd get like a whole half a box more than what I'm gonna get right now. And so what do I special summon the Goldfax, I normal summon the Raikou, I sink 6, I don't have Brionic, I sink for Gaia, the Force of Earth, I attack him to his Scrap Dragon, take 200, he looks confused, I get up off the table, walk over to the counter, and buy the Brionic, and then leave. And that Brionic did pay for itself in the time I had it, and I swore that I would never fall to pay that much for a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I didn't get it for 40. I cut a deal with him, got it for like, I think it was like 29 or something at the time. There was like a corner damage on it. But
or to skimp on your extra deck if you really.
The point is, if you wanna, put yourself in the best positions and make those wins with the rogue decks and get the sweet, sweet glory that comes with beating someone with a trash deck with a trash archetype that you've made good, you can't sell yourself short, and that is the message that we have to pronounce to the people of YouTube today. So, bro tip, when playing rogue decks, use your bloody extra deck!
Each and every card should have some sort of use.
And don't play multiples if you're not summoning multiples.
Yeah.
And if you're mad at a format, you got nothing better to do, go build a bad $15 Lightsworn deck and sack this one, because oh my gosh, does it take the stress away. So,
if you have a whole good rogue extra, you'll do well.
Yeah, it's top 4. It's top 4 with that deck. I hadn't beat a Dragon Flyer, but I beat everything. I can beat everything.
Only when the Evil Forms misplaying the test for second tier.
Normal summonable Judgment Dragon. That's all I'm saying.
That's pretty good.
Alright, so, Malik, the Zarjig, with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Underground. Like, comment, subscribe, and of course, if you know that guy, and there's always that guy,
Point him this way.
send him a link, and hopefully this video will set him on the track to sweet rogue deck related glory.